Elias says, yes, Morocco conceded 1 goal, but we should forget that they played their World Cup qualifiers at home for very obvious reasons. So it means that now this is a bit of a new territory for the Moroccans. They are not at home now.
The World Cup qualifiers are just 6 games out of 21. So it's not like they played all of them there.
But I mean, Daniel, is this Moroccan team, are they vulnerable? Do they have a weakness? Are there things Milovan Rajevac can spot and say that is where possibly we could capitalize on and get something from the game?
Look, every team has a weakness, and yes, the Moroccan team has weaknesses. I think it's just down to the Black Star setup and how they decide to approach the game. I've put down a couple of pointers that I just want to get to, just for you guys to see what I'm talking about, especially on how the Black Stars will possibly set up in this game. This is what I think will happen in terms of formation. If you look at Milo's time with the Black Stars, he usually favors a 4-2-3-1. So that's what you have on the screen. This is a provisional lineup, so this is not confirmed. We've seen that Milo likes to have Amate at right back. It looks like he trusts him in that position. He doesn't have his fullbacks bumping for it, so he doesn't necessarily need that attacking sort of fullback. So he has Amate in there, Baba Rahman. If you've watched Baba Rahman under Milo, he usually doesn't move over the halfway line. So he's very defensive on that aspect. So when it comes to that sort of setup, this is how I feel the Black Stars should set up. And then also how they should approach the game should be more of a counter-attacking approach. Why do I say a counter-attacking approach? Because if you look at the Moroccans and how they approach their football, they are very attacking side. They have a very high line, so you see the likes of Saiz and Aguerd and Hakimi and Massine and Co moving forward, pushing the press on the Black Stars. And we saw the Black Stars suffer under that kind of pressure against Algeria in that friendly game. Anytime we want to get the ball back, they pressed us within 7-8 seconds, they won the ball back. So the Black Stars should not go with that game plan of trying to control possession. It won't work because we just don't have the personnel who can do that. The reason why I put Partey in that holding midfield position is because when you are opting for a counter-attacking approach, you need a progressor. Fent has already said they are like there's no Benessa. If you look at the other options on the bench, you have the likes of Wakaso, Edmonado. They are just stoppers, destroyers. Yeah. They can't progress the ball. So if you are playing a counter-attacking formation and you win the ball back, you need somebody with that vision to be able to spring the ball forward and start more attacks. And we also know Partey has the ability to drop deep with Baba. You expect the likes of Jordan and you, of course, he would start on paper. I'm sure he'll start up top, but I'm sure he'll switch places with his brother Andrea. You come down the right hand side. And we know Jordan does a lot of defensive work up and down. He does that with Crystal Palace. I think Susu has run us by those stats. He's one of the best defensive wingers.
Defensive striker.
And so if you look at this setup, I think that's how the Black Stars should. And when you look at the key, for me, the key player in this game will be Kamaldeen Suleiman. Everybody's talking about that one-on-one battle with Hakimi. And it's not just talk, it's actually very important because Hakimi loves to bump forward. And if he has this, and he always has this very good relationship with whichever right winger he's playing with. He gives those overlapping runs down there, can deliver the crosses in there. So he leaves a lot of space in behind. And that's where Kamaldeen will come in. I don't think Milo will let Kamaldeen do a lot of defending, which we saw in the couple of games he's played. He doesn't necessarily drop back. He leaves him up there for that option, that counter-attacking option. And that's why I think the Black Stars can come and hit the Moroccans on the day. I think another important thing is for us to go back to the game Ghana played with Morocco back in June. That was a very important. The 1-0 loss under CK Akono. I think that will give you an idea of how we should play this game. If you look at this, we had opportunities. That's how we set up. But I think we were let down by decision making. If you look at the high line of the Moroccans on the day, look at how far their defensive line is. And that is after Jordan Ayew has just won the ball. They are so far in front or far ahead of their goalkeeper that it leaves so much space in behind. But if you watch how play progresses, and that's why I talk about decision making, Jordan Ayew should be making this pass quickly enough as soon as he wins the ball. You have Samuel also making the run in behind, but the players are not being found. And that was a bit problematic for the Black Stars on the day. But the approach was working because you could see that there were opportunities for the counter-attack. So you see play progresses and then the Moroccans are able to come back. This is another opportunity for the Black Stars. Samalosu picks up the ball. You look as play progresses. And let me slow this down. You see another high line from the Moroccans.
Okay.
But how do we exploit that? It was down to decision-making on the day. The passes were not quick enough. Jordan should be making this run quicker. Kudu should be making this run quicker to give Samalosu more options. They were not able to do that. And then as you watch, as play progresses, the Moroccans are able to come back, play fizzles out, and then it goes against the Black Stars of Ghana. So all these things will play a part. But I think the approach will work. If we go for a counter-attacking formation or a counter-attacking approach, it will work. Another thing I also want to highlight is just the battle between Hakimi and then his very good friend Kamaldeen. Now this is the first ever battle they had earlier this season when Ren played PSG. Yeah. That is where this thing will come into being, and you could see that the Ren manager saw that weakness in Hakimi's game, his defensive weakness, and he isolated play in order for Hakimi to have, or Kamaldeen to have more one-on-one opportunities with Hakimi. So as play progresses, you look at this. Now this is something interesting I picked up. This was early on in the first half. If you look at the distance between Hakimi and Kamaldeen, he's giving him not too much room for him to be able to go past him. But then he was so unsuccessful in the first couple of minutes. If you watch us and the clips move on, he started giving him more space because now he was getting. So you see, the gap is widening because he's now anticipating that, first of all, Kamaldeen has more pace than him. He has more skill than him. So he's giving him more room. And when you are an attacking player and you notice that your marker is giving you this room, it only grows in confidence because, of course, when you have the skill and the ability to move past them, it helps your game. And that's what happened. Kamaldeen had a fantastic game against PSG. He ended up giving an assist in that game. As more highlights, let me just fast forward this one so that you see what I'm talking about. This is in the second half. Now look at how much room he's giving him in the second half because Hakimi grew more scared of Kamaldeen. And he keeps on backing off because he's reminded that this guy can do anything with the ball. And that room only helps the attacking player on the day. So I feel this is an aspect of the game that Milo must look at, trying to get the best out of Kamaldeen. And the good thing about this Black Star squad, when you watch through, even if Kamaldeen is not fit enough to play, we have somebody on the left wing, that is Joseph Pencil, who has almost equal ability as Kamaldeen and can cause us as much hurt or as much pain to Hakimi as Kamaldeen will be able to do. So I think this is, per what I have studied in the game, I think this is an aspect that the Black Stars can use to hurt the Moroccans on the game.
The other issue, Daniel, that you pointed out, and is decision-making, mostly in the final third. And I think we've talked about that an awful lot when it comes to even Kamaldeen himself. He can sometimes create these opportunities, but the final ball is often lacking. How do you solve that problem? Because even from the earlier analysis, you could see that the decision-making was always lacking. And sometimes that's the margin. Making a quick decision within a split second is a difference between a ball going wide or a ball getting into the intended pass. Because we seem to have that problem. How do we get past that? I mean, we will create these spaces, but will we make the right decisions in time?
For me, when it comes to this question, and this is a brilliant question you've asked, it's all down to coaching. When you look at the friendly back in June last year, you could tell that the approach was right, but they were not drilled enough to have the attacking patterns, what to do when they get the ball. So we had good opportunities in promising situations, but the decision-making was lacking. The players were not on the same wavelength. And that is where I choose to trust Milo. Because if you go back to 2010, a similar young, inexperienced team, we didn't have too many opportunities. But if you look at the goal Asamoah Gyan scored against Angola, for example, we had the ball deep, one long ball from Kojo Asamoah, found Asamoah Gyan. You could tell that those sort of situations were popping in almost every game Ghana played. So they were drilled and they knew exactly what to do with the ball. Everybody seemed to be on the same wavelength. And I think with Milo and what he's done in the last 4 games, that is 4 competitive games, you can clearly tell that this is somebody who understands organization. He understands approach when it comes to tournaments. And you can bet on him that the players will be on the same wavelength today. And of course, you can also rely on individual quality on the day. You have Kamaldeen, who already has that confidence coming up against Hakimi. You look at the experience of Andre Dede Ayew. Some may say, should he start because of the sort of approach I'm talking about. But also, if you have somebody who has the ability to hold that play like Dede can do, his movement in and around the box, you don't necessarily need your number 9 to be on the end of moves. Dede's intelligent runs in and around the box can easily move defenders away and create space for the other attacking players. So I think, honestly, I feel with the players we have, we could easily formulate a perfect game plan to get a result.
And one last one. The other, I don't want to call it a conundrum, but it really is the fact that Baba Rahman, and we know him, his biggest abilities is when he's going forward. But when he plays on the same side as Kamaldeen Suleiman, he's often made to defend an awful lot. Is that to say that perhaps in a system like this, where Kamaldeen is trusted with a lot of attacking abilities and expected to keep the width, we're going to see Baba Rahman in this tournament doing a lot more defending than usual?
I think that's what it is, and that's what I mentioned in the earlier one. If you look at, that's why I've gone with Amate as a right back. Even if Andy Yadon plays, we've seen him, I think, in the game against Ethiopia, where he hardly went over the line. That is a Milo philosophy.
Yeah. But it essentially means that our fullbacks will not be providing anything in an attacking
exactly sense. And you see, that's why I always say it might not be what you like, but
if it's effective,
it's effective. And for as long as Milo has been here, that's what he's been doing. He's been getting results. So I feel. And if we are giving Baba Rahman some credit, if we are being honest with ourselves, on the defensive side of things, he's been pretty solid with the Black Stars since Milo came. His now new defensive role. And also, I think the added ability he has is his ability to pick passes from deep. He has a good technique and good vision to be able to get passes from deep. If you remember the South Africa game, the second half of that game, Kamaldeen's chance where he sprang behind the South African defense, cutting in, goalkeeper came off his line, hit the ball out. It came from a Baba Rahman pass from deep. He has that vision to see the pass, has that ability to execute it. So he doesn't necessarily have to be on this side of the pitch to be able to do that. He can find the pass from deep. And I think that is another asset we have if we decide to play a counter-attacking formation. Because if the ball gets to the likes of Partey, Baba Rahman, Jonathan Mensah, who's also good playing with his feet, we can have an ability to progress the ball and cause some danger for the Moroccans.
All right.